Hi friends, and welcome to the program. Today's all about memory, or in my case, lack thereof. You see, sometimes, especially when you travel as often as we do, you tend to forget, or at the very least take for granted, some of the great opportunities and adventures there are right in your own backyard. And ironically, I was sitting in my office last spring working on our travel schedule when my good friend Bob Eisen from Another Limit Guide Service called up and asked if we'd like to go along on a fishing trip in Midland, Michigan, not an hour from home, and catch some smallmouth, maybe a few walleye. Well, it took me about 10 seconds to join in, and maybe 2 more minutes to get pro staffer Dan Fox on board. It seems big-time bronzebacks and some nice walleye fishing that you don't have to travel 1,000 miles for seem pretty good to him, too. Hey, I'm your host, Kyle Randall. This is my Wilderness Journal, and we're headed to the middle of the mitten for some big-time bass fishing right now. Well before sunrise, we had everything loaded in Bob's jet boat, and we're cruising up the Tittabawassee. As we motored along, I glanced over at Dan, and it was obvious from the set of his jaw, the look on his face. As soon as we got there, he was going to dive right into doing some first-rate camera work. And then, as soon as Bob pulled up on the first hole, as if to verify exactly what I thought would happen.
What are we catching here?
Smallmouth, white bass, crappies, walleye, catfish. If it's in Lake Huron, it's in here.
No, it's the walleyes. Where are they at?
The last few we've been catching have been right over here on the backside of the suds.
Camera guys, you know what I mean?
Looks like the spot.
Really? We'll see. And Tina, I told him to go ahead and string a rod just in case. Because she said if she caught you fishing, you were all done.
He didn't have to tell me twice, Tina.
I didn't have to tell him twice to get started either. And speaking of getting started. Well, wait. You're the guide. You're not supposed to be catching fish. What?
And
who taught you how to fish?
I got a little excited. Wow.
I believe that is a illegally caught fish, sir.
Yep.
Better throw that back.
My bad. Wow.
You know that's not the way we do it.
I know it. I should have waited for the bite.
You're a little different.
It's hard when that rod starts twitching.
I know it. Well, that only took about 3 minutes. All we had done is pulled up by the edge of the dam. We were just fishing some of the back eddies, some of the edges of the faster water, casting out minnow imitations or jigging. Dan was actually fishing a drop shot, but no matter what we were doing, all you had to do was get your bait out between the edge of the fast and the slower water, and it didn't seem to take long at all.
You got something on the trying to take me along.
What are you doing lifting it with a line? You don't like that fish? A smallmouth bass. It's almost too easy though, isn't it?
Nice fish.
We were definitely onto a spot, and it obviously wasn't just us.
See that seagull with that lamprey?
Friends, if you could somehow teach all the seagulls to sit at the water's edge and pick off chestnut lampreys, well then I'd probably have a whole lot better opinion of seagulls.
Hey.
Eh? And speaking of better opinions. What? What happened?
Catch and release.
It worked.
Yep.
I saw it release right there. That's the biggest one so far.
That was a nice fish.
That's the one that got away.
That's the way it always goes.
Blame the cameraman, I would.
Oh well, we'll go back and try to get him.
All right. What happened there? What was that?
A miss.
Oh.
There he is.
Yeah?
Yep.
What do you got?
A little release on him.
Hey, you are developing a bad habit. Now, before you all get worked up over me giving Dan a hard time, and you get all teary-eyed thinking I'm picking on him, you may want to take notice of the fact that he's the one with the fishing pole. He ain't holding no camera, and neither is the guide for that matter. The fact that they're having a little bit of trouble keeping some fish buttoned up, Well, that's certainly not my fault. And fortunately for Dan, another chance in this place is never far away.
There's no fight in these guys at all. Sad, isn't it? Another fine fish.
Yeah. Not bad for a camera guy.
The sun wasn't even full up yet, and Bob already had us on the fish. That first hole was obviously full of them, and we were getting lots of bites. The guys were having a little trouble, however, getting some of the bigger ones in the boat. I figured, it's time to send in the first string.
Muskie come up here.
A little bit of muskie. All we saw was the back.
There's one. That's 3 on 3 casts now.
Yes, it is better to be lucky than good.
What do you think? There might be some fish here. It's a big fish here, a little better. Come here, big feller. People at home just want to see you. We're going to take your picture. I'll put you back. Just no quick. Probably 16, 17 inch fish. Yep. Probably weighed a pound more than she does now a week ago. Yep. Still, middle of Michigan, fishing with Mr. Bob Ison. The sun is coming up. With a little light that up, how pretty that is. I put you back here to catch these, and well, sometimes you just gotta let the old man show you. It's good to be lucky, ain't it? So we'll put her back. I think there's fish over there. That's not quite as big, but I'll tell you what, you were right. You said when the sun started coming up, the fish started hitting, and that's exactly what's happening.
The sunshine definitely was having an impact on the fishing. We'd been catching some right along, but just like Bob predicted, as soon as the sun actually started getting on the water, it was virtually every cast. It was so good we hadn't even moved the boat yet. We were still fishing the first place we started. They were mostly smallmouth, but the occasional largemouth showed up too. It was so good, in fact, even Dan was catching them.
Hey, feel better. For me, it's pretty nice. I was going to say for just about anybody, it's pretty nice. Ooh. You've been catching some a little bit smaller ones, but that's pretty nice bass. Nice fish.
Yeah, I'll say. That's a dandy smallie.
Yes, sir. Dandy.
You'll take that, huh?
All day long.
I didn't think you was fishing.
Yeah, once in a while, I like to get the line in the water.
I see.
The bass were obviously really biting. But Bob told us, hey, if you guys want any walleye to take home, we need to get on them before it gets any brighter. Well, Dan, he was complaining when we got here about catching walleye, so...
What do you got there?
It's a wally.
My lunch right there. That's what that's called. That's called lunch.
We're going to do a net job on him.
Well, bring it over here. That's food. Good job, man.
Nice work.
What do you make that? Probably 16, 17 anyway?
He'll make the frying pan. I know he'll make that.
2 fillets in a 9-inch cast iron pan, right?
Yep.
And before we could get Dan's fish in the
what
cooler...
you got?
What are you catching, fish?
Feels kind of walleye.
Kind of walleye-y. Is that a word in Claire, is it? Walleye-ish?
Oh, just make it.
Just made it. Not a bad fish, though. That's an eater.
I think he'll make it.
15, 16?
I think he'll make it.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead and measure it.
We'll measure him.
There's a bit of a bite. That feels a little like a lunch fish. Kind of sticking his head down. See if, oh, yeah. See, you can see they've got the symbol of a frying pan on their side. Some people call it protective marketing. I refer to it more as, cooking instructions. See if I can flip him in here. You should never do this at home, especially if you want to eat. My wife will tell you that talking to me is just like explaining work to a teenager. It's a lot of noise. There ain't nobody listening.
Bob had definitely done his homework. He had this whole place hardwired. You think about it. He pulled us up, said fish here, the smallmouth, the largemouth, moved us over, said fish here, and now the walleye were jumping in the boat.
There's a eating fish. That's kind of
You might make her.
this close to lunchtime. That fish looks pretty good.
It'll be a close one.
I think you better measure him before you try and put him in the bucket.
Thinking he's a little light.
No, sir. Make her. No problem.
Yeah?
He's an inch over.
Well, there you go. It's almost lunch. You're getting there.
Almost. You need a few more.
Yes,
Or
sir.
get some potatoes. One of the two.
We definitely wouldn't need any fillers for this day's lunch. In fact, the only bad thing, if you can call it that happened while we were fishing for walleye was occasionally you'd hook a smallmouth instead.
That's a smallmouth, non-target species. I'm going to let you go, but here's the deal. You got to go down there. See that? Tell the walleye that's the ticket right there, yeah. You go tell them walleye. I'm the only guy I know that'll make a deal with a fish.
Now say what you want when it comes to making a deal with a fish, but it was after 10 o'clock in the morning, bright, sunny, calm day, fishing in less than 6 feet of water, and we were still catching walleye.
Walleye. And that's what we were fishing for, so that's a good thing. Look at me. Okay, now. You
No.
get the camera close enough, they look big.
We don't have to measure this guy.
Caught a fish. I like it.
Yeah? Well,
It's always good to catch fish when you're fishing.
he kept banging.
Yeah, we'll
did.
catch a bigger one.
Well, I'm going to try.
Good. Don't make me call Tina.
No, don't do that.
I will, you know.
That, friends, is called motivation.
Not much.
Not really.
Not much.
Well, that's 2 in a row in this spot. The bite's on. I don't think the fish stretcher would get that one neither. Better put him back before somebody sees you with it.
Motivational tactics aside, obviously the walleye bite was getting smaller and smaller. The sun was getting higher and higher, and only the smaller fish seemed to be biting. We already had plenty for lunch. It was definitely time to make a move. With the sun climbing higher and higher, the walleye bite did figure to be tailing off. So we pulled the anchor, moved back up into the fast water. We were going to try to catch at least a few more big smallies before we called this a day. Bob moved us back up alongside the dam and got out his fly rod this time and started casting. And it wasn't long before... Yes, friends, that is a look of surprise and pain on Bob's face. He just drove a sizable hook right into the palm of his hand. When you land fish like that using the line, especially if you leave the rod bent, some pressure on it, and that fish flips off as it's coming in, the rod kicks, it rips the line back through your hand, and bam, now you're the one on the hook. Hey, I want to warn you, if you're a little squeamish, this isn't necessarily bloody, but we are going to pull that hook right here on this show, and if you're of a light constitution, maybe a young person, you may want to go get yourself a cool drink and a sandwich about now.
Yeah, it's stuck. Hang on with it. I don't want to hurt you here, killer, so I'm trying to be polite. Okay. It's something that starts to hurt, you let me know. Okay? Now here's the next thing. We don't want this flying. You ready?
Yep, I want you to look that way. Cat, nice work.
I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. That's slick, isn't it? That's the best way to get a hook out I know. And it doesn't hurt bad, did it? Pops right out.
Friends, that's the best way I know of to deal with that, especially out on the water. Wrapping a string around the bend of the hook, pushing down on the eye, and then giving a quick little jerk back and down exactly the same path the hook went in, pops those things out. And I've done it with some really big hooks. Still, it's something you want to practice. Try it on an orange and bet a hook in there and pop a few out, because I'm telling you, if you fish half as much as we do, sooner or later you or someone you know is going to wind up with a hook that needs to be pulled. And either you learn to pull them out on the water or you lose the rest of your day as you're headed for the hospital. Hey, fortunately though, for us at least, Bob took it like a trooper. We put a little disinfectant on his hand and within minutes we were right back at it.
What are you playing with back here?
That's a pretty good fish on back here.
You do, huh?
Oh yeah, that looks like a big old smallie, buddy. You want a little help with that?
Can I just flip him in or not? With this
Yeah,
rod?
you can if you want to. I can lip him for you if you want. I thought you was the cameraman.
Now I am.
Oh, now you'll take it. Nice fish, buddy. That is a dandy. What do you give that? 4 pounds?
All of that, I'll bet you.
Maybe more? You can throw her back?
Oh, yes.
All right.
That's a football. All right, give me the camera. It's my turn.
Oh, now you're going to work.
Well, Dan did go back to work for like 5 minutes, and Bob did go back to fishing, and for another 5 minutes passed.
Nice fish, bud.
Love it.
That's all right, eh?
I can't get enough of it.
Friends, the fishing was so good, the guys even let me catch a couple
There
more.
he is.
Getting the right bounce down there.
We got him. Now if we can get him out of there. There's a little current over there, you know?
He's way over it, ain't he?
Oh, yeah. Big bass, old son. 4-5 pounds. Get him rolling. There is a huge smallie right there, boys. That's what you go fishing with Bob Ising for right there. Well, that, you see him put hooks in his hand. We may have to pull the anchor and chase him. This thing has gone all the way. It's going to be in Midland in a minute. I can't. Oh, there you go. That's a big old smallmouth, man. Woo! That's what you come for. That's a fight. You get hooked up to a smallie like that in this kind of current, you got the price of the ticket right there. That was excellent. I'm so tired I don't think I can. Well, maybe I'll try it one more time.
The day was definitely wearing on, and I was definitely thinking about a little bit of lunch by then. But I gotta tell you, nobody was talking about quitting. We were having so much fun. We just worked our way back across the face of the dam. We were still catching fish at near every stop. We actually made it all the way back over to where we started, and we finally agreed, well, I'll take one more cast, catch one more fish, and then, we're going to lunch. I made that last cast, felt the fish set the hook, and then I heard Bob behind me do the same. Our last cast actually turned out to be a double. I remember thinking to myself, how would it ever get any better than this?
You know what, Bob? It has been a day like it always did. It didn't even snow today.
I know, it's no rain or nothing.
We had a blast, though. We caught 75, 100 smallies and enough walleye for a good meal. It's about time to head her for lunch, but I do want to thank, and I know Dan had a good time. We didn't let him fish much, but he still enjoyed it.
And then as we were pulling the anchor,
Oh, by golly, it is.
That's what I come up here for. Right
There's the price of the ticket. That is a smoker, dude. Easy 5-pound fish.
Yep. Hasn't spawned yet either. One of the few today that hasn't.
Hold that thing up. That is a dandy, dandy fish, man. A perfect way to end a trip.
Perfect. One more cast was worth it.
I guess. Nice job, mister.
Thanks, sir. Good time.
Now we can go to lunch.
Now we can go.
a great day, shared with some good friends, made even sweeter by the fact that we didn't have to travel hundreds of miles to enjoy it. Friends, don't be like me. Don't take for granted or forget the great opportunities that are sitting right in your own backyard. That truly was a memorable day. And I want to thank again my pro staffer and buddy Dan Fox. Certainly a huge thanks to our guide and friend Bob Eisen from Another Limit Guide Service. If this is something you'd like to do, if chasing some big bronze backs and maybe a few springtime walleye or something you'd like to try without having to go halfway across the country, will you give Bob a call and he'll take you out on the same water, show you the same great time that he showed us? He'll probably not bother putting another hook in his hand, but he'll be ready to take care of yours if you do, I promise you. Hey, I hope we see you out there. I hope you're hooking up a big-time bronze back of your own. And if we do, well, you know we're going to stop and share a cup and a fire. And if we don't see you out there, friends, well, then I'll look for you right back here, where we'll share another adventure from my Wilderness Journal. Thanks again, Dan, and certainly Bob. What a great day of fishing. The Wilderness Journal is underwritten by